Perhaps he preached at your wedding, or he comforted you at your loved one's funeral. He may have contributed at your fundraiser or counseled your teenage child. He could be your lecturer or the author whose book you're currently reading.
I came to St. Andrews in the year 2000. Oh, thinking what sounds like a long time ago. I came from the banking specifically, which was quite a shift for me. Coming from the financial sector to the religious sector. When it comes to working in the church, the core business is really bringing God to people and bringing out godliness in people.
One way or another, he has touched your life.
Buri has managed to maintain a very personal touch with different individuals in this large congregation.
Buri is a likable person, very peaceful, and very dedicated to his work.
It's not easy, but it is totally noble, and I have given myself totally to it from the depth of my spirit.
He is well-traveled, and it all began in the pursuit of higher education at the Princeton University, a leading institution in the United States.
I shared my desire to grow with Reverend Phyllisberg. And, she looked at me and told me, actually she shook her head. When I gave her the school I wanted to go to, she just looked at me and shook her head and said, you're a young person, you have no family, so you have nothing that is tying you down. And the world is big. And somehow when you travel a little bit, there's something happens to your mind. And I want to, at this point, just really appreciate, Reverend Dr. George Wanjao, because I didn't get a scholarship because I'm an international student and I couldn't get a scholarship, right, to get to the program. I had to pay my own fees. But when I shared this with Reverend Dr. George Wanjao, he told me I'll do the best I can to make sure that you go to school. So I went abroad and for 4 years, did 2 master's degrees, and it was a very interesting time. As funny as it may look, it was the first time I saw like snow on the ground. And I had known it having grown around Mount Kenya, I had seen it on top of mountains, and I'd always imagined that snow would fall. This was my argument, right? That if we hear rain falling, like Babatis, prrr, right? Then when snow falls, it must be really rocky, must be bang, 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 because it's solid. Only for one day for me to open my room, at the door of my room, and just find the whole place just white, covered in whiteness, and I was like, what's going on? And it took me about 30 seconds to internalize this is actually snow.
It was a victorious 4 years of learning, and he came out top of his class with 2 master's degrees to show for it. He was more than happy to serve at the church he loved dearly, the church where he would later meet his wife.
Let me first say that Mary is a great blessing in my life. And I remember for many people, it had reached a point when they were like, Buri, you're now 38, you're now 39, and what's going on? You're not married yet. And I must say, maybe in a way that could amaze some people, is that it never bothered me that I had stayed long without getting married. It bothered me earlier in life, right? That I really wanted to get married at some point in my life, but reached a point when I was no longer as bothered because I had tried so many times without success, and I told God, see, you know my address. God, you know my address, right? I've tried enough, and now when you have all things figured out, please call me.
I have had a wonderful marriage with him, and just watching him transform from the bachelor I met to the man who became my husband, then to the man who now became the father of our sons, it's been so warming for me. He has not given me a reason to doubt that this is where God wanted me to be right now, married to him.
As they say, behind every successful man, there is a woman praying, cheering him on, changing his life in many ways.
Mary has this capacity to transform. One thing that I'm very emotional about is that my wardrobe, I thought, was fantastic. I had some shirts which I had bought at wonderful prices, and they were very valuable to me. In fact, when I used to go for dates, I used to just, don them. I used to wear them. I also had one pink tracksuit.
It was not even pink. It was fuchsia. It was fuchsia. That tracksuit was fuchsia. I'm telling you. There was that one and another shirt. It was black and white. But then it had so much pattern on it. So much pattern. I would look at it and I'd be like, wow. And he had held, because of that tracksuit, he really held on to it because he said that was one of the things he bought with his money from Boom.
Now, come in, Mary, and one of the days I look for my tracksuit, and I don't find it because I really love to wear it. And I look around for it and I don't find it. And then I ask Mary, so have you seen my pink tracksuit? She says, no. Wait a minute. But there was some clothes that we packed to go to Mashuru because it was good. They were more useful. They were useful there. Could I have packed the tracksuit in that bag?
So, my dear husband, I knew where those things went.
That was not a tracksuit, it was a story, And then these disappearing acts went with some two wonderful shirts I had, which I thought were classic. But she said, later on, of course, she said, oh, no. Even when you used to come for dates wearing those shirts, I used to like, this boy needs help. He really needs help, And so that has changed, definitely. My wardrobe has changed. I used to be really a plain person, white, blue. Now I get into checks, I get into, stripes, I get into those things. And I have come to love them. I like the change. Being a married person and doing ministry, I would honestly say, has really, really bettered my ministry, I would say. Mary is always my first audience. She's the one who hears the sermon first. And it's always a risky thing to do because when I tell her what the sermon is like, how it's flowing, and what illustrations I'm giving and everything, it's a risk because she's a very sharp critic. And she tells me, no, you have too many big words. And I said, there's no big words, Then let me just remove like 4, and at least let there be one big word. Let there be one. She says, no. I am your congregant, and I'm telling you that big word you are retaining is not useful to me. So she's been very helpful, very, very helpful in many ways, and she's shaped my ministry as a spiritual leader in the church in ways that are really concrete.
We asked him to mention his most memorable moments in St. Andrews.
So there are many things that I can talk about when it comes to the impact that St. Andrews has had in my life. And I remember this incident, or rather this experience during our wedding, whereby taking of the sodas, the event that is described as taking of the sodas, which is really my mother's event because it's my mother who, together with other ladies, take sodas and lessons in preparation for the Saturday of the wedding. And my dear mother, of course, being up country, she was not able to coordinate that event. I really wanted it to go well because at a time like this, you'd want your mom to come out in the best light, And when I was in the midst of all that thought and process and anxiety, the Women's Guild of this church moved in with so much passion and so much commitment and so much life that they actually took over that event. And my anxiety was totally taken care of. And the event went so well, so well. And what I remember feeling is that I felt, at 38 years old, I felt like a child of the congregation. And may the peace of the Lord stay with you, the peace of the Lord stay with you. May His Spirit rest within you to comfort and befriend you. He is right beside you to constant.
He is equal to the task because he is properly founded, properly mentored. All the parochial ministers here sat with him and we mentored him, and we are sure he is going to do us proud.
Of the
Drivers and Mantos will miss you.